So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. Been a little bit off schedule today. Oh my god, I've been having some absolute nightmares. Some of the mods will know. Broke a screen. I've had to change the car today as well. So, everything's been a little bit jumbo. Now, tomorrow should be back on track. Anyway, enough of that shit. Let's crack on. So, look, what are we talking about? Nicola Bulley case. And a little bit of a rant. I apologise. It's not like me to do a rant, as you know. So we're just going to have a little bit of a rant. And it is about... I was watching a video, Ellie, because at the end of the day, look, I am interested in the Nicola Bulley case. I'm interested in hearing what people think. And you know me, over here, it's not about trying to push narratives and things like that. You know, it's not about me talking at people and saying, look, this is what it is, and if you don't agree, then we're no longer friends. You know, there are creators who do that, Michelle, and, you know, it's not what we do over here. I want people to be open. I want people to have a freedom to share any of their thoughts, whether we agree or not. And for me, the Nicola Bulley case is a bit of an odd one because, look, on one hand, we have a situation where a woman has gone missing. She's gone missing, she's been missing for a period of time, and she's later on been found in a body of water, in an area of that body of water that would have been difficult for her to have floated to, if you know the way in which that water works. It would have been quite difficult, but not impossible. And look, at the end of the day, she was then found there nearly a month later. And there's some questions to it. There is some questions to it because on one hand, you've got whether it was an accident, and then the other side of it, it's whether she intentionally entered the water. And then we've got this subcategory of people who feels that there was something nefarious that happened, and the majority of the people who are considering nefarious actions are locked eyes on Paul Ansell, which is Nicola Bulley's partner, and her friend, Emma. Emma, who was a friend of Paul's before she was a friend of Nicola's. So, you know, there's been a lot of speculation. I've speculated, I've wondered, but at no point have I ever kind of considered that Paul and Emma were involved in anything nefarious. I just don't see it. I feel that if they were going to do something, there would have been better ways to do it than this way. That's just my opinion, you know, and again, my opinion doesn't account for much. It's just my spitballing, and I just find that with the camera footage that was there of the vehicle, and, you know, the loading of the dog that morning, the children, and, you know, Nicola taking the girls to school, so on and so forth, and we're saying that something happened on a walk that she would be, and there would be witnesses, and a camera being all of these things that we kind of understand happened. These are the things that would have been investigated very, very deeply. And in order to believe that Paul was involved, that Emma was involved, we have to almost consider that some of the things that we know police would have been all over like white on rice, they weren't. And I don't buy it. I understand that law enforcement had not handled that case well. There were things that they could have done a lot better, and there was things that they did that just weren't good. But look, at the end of the day, we don't see many things like this. You know, we don't see cases explode on social media like they did with Nicola Bulley. It just doesn't generally happen. And when it does, not everyone's going to handle it very well, especially if it's one of these little police forces that don't really handle anything of any kind of difficulty. And, you know, it's a hard one to call. Did they mess up? Yes, they did. Is it understandable to a degree? Yes. If they are not completely, if they don't completely know how to do it, at the end of the day, they're just humans, even though they hold about they're humans, and things can go wrong. And people get annoyed, people make mistakes, and that's it. I've done it myself, and no doubt I'll do it again, and you'll probably do it again, so on and so forth. But I was watching this video, and it was talking about the dog tags, and, you know, whether or not these dog tags contain a phone number, and, you know, maybe someone called and phone and all this convoluted sort of stuff surrounding the importance of the dog tags on the dog, and calls that Paul may or may not have made to Nicola's phone and the timings of such. And I kind of found myself, I was listening, but again, this focus on Emma and Paul and, things, I couldn't buy into it. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that there's 100% no chance that anything nefarious happened. I'm not saying it. I just can't 100% buy into it. If there was something that actually shocked me and took me aback, I'd be like, actually, this genuinely makes sense. Why people could potentially be thinking and feeling certain ways about certain people. But anyway, I digress. What pissed me off about this channel is that he was having a go at another YouTuber and specifically talking about people who was saying that potentially Nicola had taken her own life. Now, for a start off, the channel that he kind of was pushing that now, they never said that. They believe that Nicola had an accident, that she actually fell in and got herself into difficulty. And it is something that could have happened there. It is something that there is a steep embankment there. If you went to do something, you was caught off guard, you fell over back. It was just the only thing that kind of, I find it hard to think that someone could have fallen down an embankment, fell into water from that height, and then made no noise. There wouldn't have been no screaming, shrill. There would have been no shouting out for help. There was nothing, no sound. And that's why it then leads me to believe that someone would have intentionally entered the water. And then I do kind of think about the difficulties of what that means in terms of the mechanics of trying to unalive yourself in water if you yourself are a good swimmer. It's different if you jump into a body of water and you cannot swim. But when you are a good swimmer, that water isn't the most difficult to get yourself out of in the event that you've put yourself in there. Again, that does lead me to believe that there is this little shred that makes me think, do you know what, something else could have happened here. And that's why I'm not letting go of it totally. I'm not saying that nothing else was in the background, but my theory is the most likely scenario is that she unalived herself. And this channel almost made like a mock-up conversation that Nicola would have had with her children, and I'm not going to go into details because it'll make me angry and I'll say something that I may regret, because at the end of the day, this is another channel from this country. They've got the thoughts, they've got the feelings. I just felt that they overstepped a mark with these comments regarding Nicola taking her own life, because it was almost making it seem like it was a ludicrous idea to think that. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, and this isn't a pity party for me. This is just being open and honest and saying anybody who says that Nicola Bulley couldn't have taken her own life, and they use excuses like she wouldn't have left a dog, she wouldn't have done it with her children in the background, these are crap statements. They were complete and utter shite statements. Now, are Paul and Emma acting strange because there was something going on between them, and this led to an exacerbation on Nicola's problems that she had, that we've heard that she had through law enforcement? And was that the straw that broke the camel's back? It seems to me that Nicola wasn't happy in the footage that we see, and albeit this only a small section of footage, but I think a lot of people would agree that in that footage, Nicola seems frosty. She doesn't seem warm. She doesn't seem happy. She seems like she's a bit antsy. And that's just my thoughts and again, because of my own experiences and seeing someone have an emotional break, this breakdown, the snap, and seeing what happened with my own mum doing that, it overrides anybody. I'm sorry, but it does. Anybody who turns around and say they wouldn't do this, or Nicola wouldn't have done this because of X, Y, and Z, I know you are wrong. That's not me guessing. That's not me saying that. It's just me flat out saying you're wrong, because you are. If someone has decided to take their own life, then they're going to, regardless of whether the dog is there with them, regardless of whether she even had the girls with her. I'm telling you now that if they have made that decision and they are in that mindset and it is an emotional break, this mental breakdown, then there isn't anything that's going to stop them. And I challenge anybody to tell me I'm wrong. But I'll tell you in advance, you can't tell me I'm wrong because I know I'm right. But I found this channel and their dismissive way in which they handled the Nicola Bulley and the unaliving, you know, the taking of her own life in such a way, I found it disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I can understand people saying that there's nefarious stuff in the background because there are elements of the case that make you lead, you know, it's possible. An accident, is that possible? Yes, but I find that that's potentially the least likely. And the self-inflicted situation, is that possible? And is that the most likely? In my eyes, it is. Let me know down below where you are with it and whether you've seen this video. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to I'm not going to do anything. If you've watched it, you will know exactly who I'm talking about and what video it is. But I won't be going back to their channel. Never, ever again. I'll catch you all on the next one.